Before we begin, if you're listening to this alone at night, you're exactly where you should be. Subscribe and turn on notifications for more true horror stories, disturbing encounters, and unexplained events uploaded every day. Now lock your doors, turn off the lights, and let's get into tonight's stories. I should have left the phone where I found it. Looking back, every problem started the moment I picked it up. It wasn't an expensive phone. It wasn't brand new. It wasn't even locked. It was lying on the shoulder of a deserted highway at nearly midnight. The screen was cracked. The battery was almost dead, and I assumed someone had accidentally dropped it from their car. I picked it up because I thought I was doing the right thing. I planned to charge it, wait for someone to call, and return it. Instead, the phone started receiving video messages. Messages that weren't meant for me. Messages from people who believed the owner was still alive. And every new video revealed something that made me wish I'd never touched that phone. This happened in October of 2023. At the time, I was 29 years old and living outside Albuquerque, New Mexico. I worked as a commercial electrician. Most nights I drove nearly an hour home after finishing jobs in neighboring towns. The roads were usually empty after 10 p.m. That night was no different. I'd worked overtime. It was almost midnight. The highway stretched for miles without another vehicle in sight. Just darkness, headlights, an empty desert on both sides. About 20 minutes into the drive, I noticed something reflecting my headlights near the edge of the road. At first I thought it was a soda can. Then I realized it was a phone. I pulled over, walked back, and picked it up. The screen lit immediately. 23% battery. No passcode. No emergency contact. No visible owner information. Only a wallpaper showing mountains at sunset. Nothing unusual. I figured somebody would eventually call. So I placed the phone in my center console and continued driving home. About 15 minutes later, the phone vibrated. An incoming video message. No name. Only a number. I ignored it. A minute later, another video arrived. Then another. Then another. My own phone remained silent. Only the found phone continued vibrating. Curiosity eventually won. I opened the first video. The recording lasted less than 10 seconds. A shaky camera. Someone walking through heavy woods at night. Rapid breathing. Then a whisper. "Where are you?" The video ended. No explanation. No faces. Nothing else. I frowned. Probably friends joking around. Maybe somebody camping. Reasonable explanation. At least initially. Then the second video arrived. This one lasted nearly 30 seconds. Again, nighttime. Again, heavy breathing. Again, the same voice. Except this time the speaker sounded frightened. Very frightened. The person whispered, "Don't answer anyone." Then the recording suddenly cut off. My stomach tightened, because now the tone felt completely different. Not playful. Not casual. Urgent. I reached home shortly afterward. Plugged the phone into a charger, placed it on my kitchen table, then forgot about it until 1:17 a.m. The phone vibrated again. Another video, then another, then another. Nearly 20 videos arrived over the next hour. Every one from different numbers. Every one filmed in darkness. Every one becoming more desperate. The realization immediately became unsettling, because every sender appeared to be searching for the same person, the phone's owner. One message finally included a face. A young man, covered in dirt, looking directly into the camera. He whispered, "If you found my phone, don't come looking for me." My blood immediately ran cold. The realization genuinely frightened me, because that wasn't a message meant for friends. It sounded like a warning. The following morning I contacted local police, explained exactly what happened. An officer collected the device, reviewed the incoming messages, then asked whether I'd watched all of them. I admitted I hadn't. He simply nodded, then said they'd handle it. The response felt strangely serious, far more serious than I'd expected. Several days passed. Then detectives contacted me, not because I was in trouble, because they had questions. Apparently the phone belonged to a man reported missing several days before I found it. The location where I discovered the device wasn't where investigators believed he disappeared. The discovery changed part of their timeline. My stomach tightened immediately, because now the videos seemed much more important. Investigators eventually recovered dozens of deleted recordings that never reached the phone before its battery died. Most were too damaged to recover completely, but one remained intact. The final recording. It lasted only 12 seconds. The owner pointed the camera toward himself. He looked exhausted, terrified. Then he quietly said, "If somebody else finds this phone, tell them not to answer the videos." The recording ended. The phone battery died moments later. Authorities eventually continued their investigation, but they never shared every detail with me. And honestly, I stopped asking. Some stories are frightening enough without knowing how they end. But one detail has stayed with me ever since. Several months after turning the phone over, a detective called with an update. Not about the missing man, about the phone itself. For reasons nobody could explain, the device had continued receiving video messages inside the evidence locker for nearly 2 weeks after it was collected. Even though investigators had removed the SIM card, even though the phone remained in airplane mode, even though it had never connected to another network again, no one offered an explanation. No one seemed eager to discuss it. And to this day, whenever I see a phone lying beside the road, I keep driving, because sometimes the worst thing you can do is answer someone else's phone. The phone was completely dead when I found it. No battery, no signal, no lock screen, nothing. I figured if I charged it, I'd eventually find the owner. Instead, the phone started making videos by itself. Videos nobody recorded. Videos that somehow showed places inside my own house. Places the phone couldn't possibly see. By the time I realized what was happening, I had already spent 3 nights sleeping with that phone on my kitchen counter. And according to the timestamps, it hadn't been sleeping at all. This happened in the winter of 2022. At the time, I was living outside Boise, Idaho. I worked maintenance for a large office complex downtown. Every evening, after most employees left, I walked the parking garage checking lights, stairwells, and security gates. It was repetitive work. Quiet work, usually uneventful. One Friday evening, while checking the 4th level of the garage, I noticed something lying beneath a parked pickup truck. At first I thought it was a wallet. When I bent down, I realized it was a smartphone. Black case, cracked screen, completely powered off. I looked around. No one nearby. No vehicles leaving. Nothing. Standard procedure was to turn found property over to building security. But security had already closed for the weekend. I decided to take it home, charge it, then return it Monday morning. Simple. At least that's what I expected. That evening I plugged the phone into a charger. Nothing happened. Several minutes passed. Finally, the screen lit up. Battery icon. 1%. No passcode appeared. Instead, the home screen loaded immediately. No wallpaper. No photos visible. No contacts. Almost completely empty. The phone looked like it had recently been reset. The only unusual thing was the camera app. It sat open, already running, pointing toward my kitchen ceiling. I closed it. Didn't think much about it. The following morning I woke around 7. Made coffee. Walked into the kitchen. The phone screen was on, displaying a notification. New video saved. My stomach tightened, because I hadn't touched the phone since the previous night. Curious, I opened the gallery. One video. Created at 3:14 a.m. The recording lasted 22 seconds. I pressed play. The video showed darkness. Shaky movement. Then slowly, my hallway came into view. My blood immediately ran cold. Because it was my hallway. My house. My pictures hanging on the wall. My front door. Everything. The realization hit instantly. Someone had recorded inside my house. Except nobody had. I lived alone. The phone never left the kitchen. The recording angle made no sense. It looked like someone was quietly walking through the hallway, holding the phone chest high. Yet I distinctly remembered leaving it on the counter. I replayed the video. Again. Nothing explained it. Still, I convinced myself I'd accidentally activated the camera. Maybe. Sleepwalking. Maybe. Some strange software bug. Reasonable explanations. At least initially. That night I deliberately tested it. I powered the phone off. Completely off. Placed it face down on the kitchen counter. Then recorded myself doing exactly that using my own phone. No question. No confusion. The device remained untouched. The next morning, another notification. New video saved. My blood immediately turned to ice. The phone was still exactly where I'd left it, powered on, despite being turned off the night before. The new recording lasted 46 seconds. This time, it showed my upstairs bedroom. The camera slowly pushed the bedroom door open, entered the room, stopped beside the bed. Then the video ended. I couldn't breathe, because I lived alone. There was no one else in that house. I immediately checked security cameras I'd recently installed outside. Nothing. Every door remained closed. No movement. No visitors. No break-in. Nothing. The realization genuinely terrified me. That afternoon I returned the phone to building security. Explained everything. They laughed. Assumed I was joking. Logged the phone into Lost and Found. End of story. Or so I thought. Monday morning my supervisor called. His voice sounded unusually serious. The phone had disappeared. Not stolen. Not signed out. Simply gone. Security footage showed the evidence cabinet remained locked all weekend. Nobody entered. Nobody removed it. Yet Monday morning, the shelf was empty. The realization genuinely unsettled everyone. The investigation began. Security cameras were reviewed. Inventory checked. Nothing. No explanation existed. Life slowly returned to normal. Until nearly 3 weeks later. I received a package in the mail. No return address. Inside sat a USB flash drive. Nothing else. No letter. No note. No explanation. Curiosity got the better of me. I plugged it into an old laptop. One folder appeared. Inside were 7 videos. Every one labeled with dates. Dates matching the nights the phone had been inside my house. My stomach immediately tightened. I opened the final recording. The camera moved through my hallway again. Past the living room. Past the stairs. Then stopped outside my bedroom. Very slowly, the camera tilted downward, toward the floor. My blood immediately ran cold. Because someone was standing there. Bare feet. Only bare feet. Standing beside my bedroom door. Completely motionless. Then the camera slowly tilted upward. Before revealing the person's face, the recording ended. I sat frozen. Unable to move. Unable to think. I immediately contacted police. Investigators examined the flash drive. Unfortunately, they found nothing useful. No fingerprints. No identifying information. Nothing. The case eventually went cold. Mostly. But one detail has haunted me ever since. Because forensic technicians recovered one corrupted file hidden on the drive. Most of it couldn't be restored. Only the final 3 seconds survived. The recording showed my kitchen. The phone sitting exactly where I'd left it. Motionless. Then, without anyone touching it, the camera slowly rotated, until it pointed directly toward the hallway, as if someone had quietly picked it up. Except, nobody was there. Nobody visible. Nothing. Just the phone, moving on its own. Ever since then, I've had one rule. If I ever find another phone lying somewhere, I'm not charging it, I'm not unlocking it, and I'm definitely not taking it home. The phone rang every night at exactly 3:03 a.m. Not 3:02, not 3:04, exactly 3:03. Every single night. The ringtone always lasted 1 minute. The caller never spoke. The screen never displayed a name. Just one word. Unknown. I could have turned the phone off. I could have thrown it away. I could have handed it to the police the day I found it. Instead, I answered the 5th call, and I spent the next 6 months wishing I hadn't. This happened in November of 2023. At the time, I was 31 years old and living outside Seattle, Washington. I worked as a warehouse supervisor. My shift usually ended around midnight. After work, I drove the same route home every night. There was a small bus stop about 15 minutes from my apartment. Almost nobody used it that late, especially during the winter. One cold Thursday night, heavy rain had just started. The roads were empty, the sidewalks deserted. As I drove past the bus stop, something caught my eye. A bright screen glowing beneath the bench. At first, I thought someone had forgotten a flashlight. Then I realized it was a smartphone. I pulled over, walked through the rain, and picked it up. The phone was surprisingly clean. No cracks, no visible damage. The battery still showed nearly 80%. There was no passcode, no notifications, no wallpaper, Just a black lock screen with the current time. 12:47 a.m. I looked around. Nobody. No buses. No people waiting. Nothing. I figured someone would eventually call. So I took it home, placed it on the kitchen counter, and went to bed. At exactly 3:03 a.m., I woke to a ringtone. Not my phone. The one I'd found. The sound echoed through the apartment. Loud. Sharp. Unfamiliar. Half asleep, I stumbled into the kitchen. The screen displayed only one word. Unknown. No number. No contact. Nothing. The phone rang for exactly 60 seconds. Then stopped. No voicemail. No missed call. Nothing remained on the call log. The realization immediately felt strange. Still, phones glitch. Reasonable explanation. At least initially. The following night, 3:03 a.m., the ringtone returned. Exactly the same. Exactly 1 minute. Exactly the same screen. Unknown. Again. No call history afterward. My stomach tightened slightly, because now it was a pattern. Still, software bugs happen. Maybe. On the third night, the phone rang again. This time, curiosity got the better of me. I answered. Silence. Complete silence. No breathing. No background noise. Nothing. After 60 seconds, the call disconnected. The realization genuinely unsettled me. The next morning, I visited my carrier's retail store. The technician examined the device, ran diagnostics, checked the SIM card. Everything appeared normal. According to him, there was no evidence the phone had received any calls at all. My blood immediately ran cold, because I'd heard them. 3 nights in a row. I left even more confused. Night 4, 3:03 a.m. The phone rang again. This time I didn't answer. Instead, I recorded it using my own phone. Exactly 60 seconds. Exactly the same ringtone. Exactly the same unknown screen. The recording proved I wasn't imagining it. The 5th night arrived. 3:03 a.m. The ringtone started. I answered immediately. For nearly 20 seconds. Nothing. Then, very quietly, I heard footsteps. Slow footsteps. Crunching gravel. Moving steadily forward. My blood immediately turned to ice. The sound grew slightly louder. Then the call ended. Exactly 60 seconds. The realization genuinely terrified me. The following evening, I contacted police. An officer collected the phone, listened to my explanation, logged the device as found property. I figured that was the end. It wasn't. The next morning, the phone was back, sitting on my front porch, inside an evidence bag. My blood immediately ran cold. The property receipt remained attached. My name still written across it. Everything exactly as police had packaged it, except no officer admitted returning it. Security cameras showed nothing. Not a single person approached my house overnight. The bag simply appeared between camera recordings. The realization genuinely frightened everyone involved. Police retrieved the phone again. This time they placed it inside the evidence locker. That night, at exactly 3:03 a.m., the evidence locker landline rang. When the overnight officer answered, he heard nothing. Only slow footsteps. The phone itself remained powered off inside the locker. Yet multiple officers heard the ringing. The investigation became increasingly strange. Detectives eventually identified the original owner. Or at least, they identified the person who purchased the phone. According to records, the owner disappeared almost a year earlier. His vehicle had been discovered abandoned several miles from the same bus stop where I found the phone. The device itself had never been recovered. Until I picked it up, the timeline made no sense. At all. Still, authorities continued investigating. Weeks passed. The nightly calls stopped. Life slowly returned to normal. Mostly. Then 6 months later, I received a package. No return address. Inside was the phone. Again, wrapped carefully in newspaper. Charged. Powered on. Waiting. My stomach immediately tightened, because the clock displayed 3:02 a.m. Exactly 1 minute later, the ringtone began. For reasons I still can't explain, I answered. The footsteps returned. Only this time, they sounded different. No gravel. Hardwood. Slow. Deliberate footsteps. Walking across a wooden floor. My wooden floor. Every hair on my body stood up, because at that exact moment, I heard the same footsteps behind me. Inside my house. Not through the phone. Behind me. I spun around. Nothing. The kitchen was empty. The hallway dark. The call disconnected. Exactly 60 seconds. I didn't sleep another minute that night. Police searched the house. Found nothing. No forced entry. No footprints. Nothing. The phone disappeared shortly afterward. Completely. I never saw it again. The story should have ended there. Mostly, it did. But one detail still keeps me awake. Months later, detectives contacted me one final time. Digital forensic specialists had managed to recover deleted audio files stored deep inside the phone's memory. Most were corrupted, unusable, except for one, the oldest recording. Apparently created the night the original owner disappeared. The recording lasted 58 seconds. For most of it, only footsteps, heavy breathing. Then, during the final 4 seconds, a frightened male voice whispered, "If you find my phone, don't answer when it calls." The recording ended. No explanation followed. No additional evidence was ever recovered. The missing man was never located. The case remains unsolved. And every single morning, without thinking, I still check the clock when I wake up, just to make sure it isn't 3:03.